Hey everyone. So today I wanted to share a sneak peek at the procedural level generation and kind of show you a bit how that works. So essentially we're using Perlin noise to generate the tiles in a kind of pseudo-random way. Rather than being truly random, it kind of lends itself to creating more cave-like areas and bigger areas of tiles as well. Which end up with kind of nice looking platforming areas. So it looks sort of like this. But there are a few issues with it right off the bat. There's a lot of odd little single tiles, and there's also a lot of areas like in here where there's just like an empty tile with nothing in it, and a lot of neighbors. And that kind of doesn't look very good, and even though we've only got a placeholder tile at the moment, it won't look very good in an actual level. So we then do a pass through, grabbing any of these, going through every single tile in the level, and we check whether it's got more than 5 tiles in a 3x3 grid around it. If it does, and it itself is not a tile, then we put a tile there. And so we repeat that several times, and the level starts to get filled out a bit. We just keep doing that until we can't do it anymore. And there we go. So it's starting to look a bit more like a level. And from here, we've still got a couple of issues with, like, where's a good example? This one. I know it's on a roof, but there's like little odd single tiles that just kind of jut out of places. It's not so much an issue with ones on the roof, but it's a bit weird if it ends up happening on a wall, or on a floor here, like this. So we then do basically the same as what we did before, but in reverse. We find anything that is a tile and has only 3 neighbors that are tiles, and then we make a pass through and we start culling out them. We open up the space a little bit more, and then we've got a bit more of like a kind of open area that you can explore, and we can have a lot of more stuff going on in the background and that you'll be able to see. And then from here, it's quite easy to tell that you might not be able to get from the bottom left to the top right. As you can see down here, there's a bunch of tiles you can't get through. And with the goal, where's the goal? Goal's up here. They're just kind of placeholder locations to start with. But from here, we use a thing called A-star pathfinding. So basically, it will try and find the cheapest and most efficient path that you can take from the bottom left all the way to the top right. The other issue with this is that by default, most of these pathfinding things are used for top-down games, where gravity isn't really a factor. So if you imagine this as like we were looking down and you're playing in a top-down view, you could just move anywhere in these open spaces and find your way through. But for us, with it being a side view and you need to be climbing up and jumping and that kind of stuff, we had to put in some restraints into the pathfinding that made it act like a player and would only search a viable path that the player could take. This was a bit tricky to get working, but eventually got there. And then the final step was, if it fails the path, which I'm going to show you in a sec, but it will definitely fail this first attempt, it will then break a 3x3 grid around the closest position it got to the target. So let's have a look. Oh, I haven't got the things turned on. That's annoying. All right, so let me do a new one. Let's get rid of that. Let's do another one. Let's fill in the gaps. Let's empty out the edges. And I can already see it's pretty much going to make it. Let's move it inside that. Make it harder. Alright, that was the old path for the previous one. So let's do it again. It's gotten almost there. Keep trying, and this one hasn't worked. So if it can't get there in the end, that one worked. If it can't make it all the way, then it'll basically delete the level and start again. Get rid of those There you go. That's a good example. So all the red boxes are kind of where it's checked, and then it will go back to the green. Oh, sorry. It'll keep checking all these red areas, and eventually, once it gets there, the green is the most optimal path you could take, and it's all within the restraints that a player would have while moving. Let's try again. Fill it in. Turn that off so you can see me filling it in. Empty out the little single ones. Move the start in there. Move the end up here. And turn on so you can see it in action. Alright, so it's gotten up to here and it's failed. So it hasn't figured out a better way to get through, and we don't really have the capability at the moment for it to go back to a worse position to break through the wall. So in this instance, it will delete and start again. It automatically starts. Let's fill in the level, remove the little single ones, and now let's put it up there. Deliberately put it in the wall. All right. There we go. And so the idea of this is it's all going to happen much faster because I'm not doing any input to make it happen. And it should all check a full level from start to finish and assess whether it's completable or within probably a second or two. And that can all be hidden behind a loading screen. No one will know it's happening, and every time they play will play in a different level. That's the goal. So yeah, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.